Hey guys, welcome back to our Japan Talk series. If you guys are unfamiliar with the series, basically what we're going to do is we are going to take you through a beautiful walk through Japan, and while you're enjoying the scenery, we are going to just give a little talk on a topic related to life or living in Japan. And for today's topic is all of the reasons why you might hate living in Japan. Now, for myself, I've been living in Japan for the past 10 years, love living here. I would say that Japan is an overwhelmingly great place to live, but of course, no place is perfect, and there are several reasons why people don't enjoy living here. And I'm going to go through what might be the top 5 reasons that you might not like living in Japan. All right, let's get started. So, the first reason that you might not enjoy living in Japan is because here nothing is easy. Everything in Japan is very, very complicated to do. Even something that should be super simple, like opening up a bank account. I remember when I first arrived to Japan 10 years ago, even something as simple as opening a bank account, it was almost impossible to do. And it has nothing to do with a language barrier, nothing to do with not understanding Japanese. There's just so many rules, so many procedures, and so many things that just don't make sense. When I first came to Japan, I went to every single Japanese bank and I was denied by all of them. Some of those banks wanted me to live in Japan for 6 months before opening an account, and some of them wanted me to have a Japanese mobile phone number. And the weird thing about that was when I would go to, the mobile phone store, I would say, okay, I want to buy a cell phone. And they would say, well, you need a bank account. And then I would go to the banks and I would say, I want to open up a bank account. And they would say, yeah, but you need a cell phone. So it just puts you in this endless loop where it was essentially impossible to do something simple like get a phone or to get a bank account. And you kind of have to find ways to, work around the system. But in general, when you are living here, you will find that really nothing is easy to do, whether you're having to take care of like government procedures down at your local ward office, whatever it might be, things are normally a process. They're normally really tedious to do. And it can be really frustrating and can be a big waste of time. So in Japan, one of the biggest things you need to be successful in your life here is going to be patience. All right. The second reason why you might not enjoy living in Japan, it is due to the work culture. I'm sure you guys have heard rumors. You've heard about some of the nightmares of working in Japan. And I'm here to tell you after 10 years, they are all absolutely true. Japan can be a miserable place to work. People here work incredibly long hours. There's an extremely frustrating and inefficient working culture and working style. Particularly from the older generation of leadership in Japan, they can be very abusive. There's a lot of power harassment here. Also, the expectation in terms of work output in comparison to how you'll be paid or remunerated or valued for your work, the value proposition there is very, very low. So people can often feel, very demotivated, feeling like, you can never have a break, you can never take a vacation. The expectation for work performance is always perfection, but what you get in return is actually very, very little. So a lot of people can't hack it working in Japan. I've seen people that have come here for work, and I've seen people that can't last more than a few months. I've seen people that, come and they collapse after a month of trying to work in Japan, and some people come and they love it. It's all up to you, but work culture is a thing that a lot of people really do not enjoy. Another thing that you might not enjoy about living in Japan is the high tax rate and just the high cost of living overall. Firstly, if you are not familiar, Japan has a lot of taxes. First of all, there is a 10% sale tax, which is very high, depending on what country you may live in. It could be quite high. For me, it was very high. And the cost of living is very high, particularly if you're living in a bigger city like Tokyo. The cost of accommodation is very, very high, and what you get back for what you pay is very little. If you guys haven't seen my video, I show you my Tokyo apartment where I'm paying $3,500 for a downtown Tokyo apartment. And for me, the value proposition of the apartment, it's not so good. Apartments in Japan are quite small. Really, if you get out into the countryside, where there might not be many jobs, you can find, good value on the property. But again, it's hard to find work out there. In general, just everything really costs a lot in Japan. Groceries are very expensive. Travel is very expensive. Trains are expensive. Shinkansen are expensive. Everything is incredibly expensive. And so, unless you are making quite a good salary here, it can be difficult to enjoy all of the things that Japan has to offer. So, those are some things to kind of look out for and to consider. It's really worth, if you're going to consider a job offer here in Japan, really look at the end of the day, what would be your cash in hand? There's a lot of, like wage tax calculators that are available online, and you can kind of plug in what would be your offer for your annual salary, and then you will see how much they will take out, for your wage taxes, for your residence tax, for, your taxes for like pension and social services and all of those kind of things. What you need to know is at the end of the day, how much cash in hand are you going to have? And then you can see, okay, how much am I going to have to pay for, my rent and for my expenses and all those things. And so, be really prudent if you're, thinking about taking a job offer here, because a lot of money, a shocking amount of money, is going to be coming out of your paycheck every month. So you have to be prepared for that. Now the next one, why you may not enjoy living in Japan. I will say this, and it's related to people. Overall, Japanese people, they're great. They're very respectful and polite and, in many cases, trustworthy. But there's one thing that I hear about Japanese people quite often from people that come to Japan to live. And it's one of the reasons why you may not enjoy living here. Japanese people, they're very shy by nature. They're not very outgoing. And a lot of people, for these reasons, find it, people in general here to not be that fun, to not really know how to enjoy themselves. There's some countries where you go where you can sense from the moment that you get off the plane that people there, they have a fun-loving spirit. They're laughing, they're smiling, they're teasing you, they're engaging you in conversation. You're feeling like you're a part of the fabric of society. You're not going to find those feelings in Japan. People are reserved. They're very shy. They're extremely unlikely to talk to you if they do not know you. They're not going to come up and joke with you. They're not going to come up and laugh with you. They're not going to, be smiling at you, as you walk, down the street. They're not going to be walking up to you and engaging you in conversation. Maybe if you're in somewhere deep into the countryside, maybe, some older people will do that. But in general, people do not do that. And it was a really big shock for me. I can give you, the difference in my experience. When I first moved to Thailand, I studied Thai before arriving. And when I arrived there, I found everyone was very welcoming. Everybody was trying to talk with me. I was laughing and joking with people. And it was really easy and really motivating for me to have language growth. And when I came to Japan, I was like, man, you know what? I want to do the same exact thing. Like, I want to study Japanese before I arrive to Japan. It's going to be so fun. And so I, busted my butt studying Japanese before I arrived to Japan. And I was expecting a similar experience, but I was really shocked. It was like a culture shock for me because everybody was really closed off. Everybody was sort of minding their business and just ignoring everyone else. And it was really sort of demotivating for me to grow my language skills and to, basically it was very tough for me, especially in the early stages, to feel a part of the country, to feel a part of the fabric of society. And for a lot of people, that can feel really isolating, to be in a place where it just seems cold, where it seems like people are sort of not taking an interest in you and not welcoming you to be a part of the fabric of Japan. Now, of course, that can happen over time. And if you're going to be here for a while, you're going to meet people. It's going to happen over time, but it's not a natural thing here that's going to be easy. Let's just say that. Now, the fifth reason why I see a lot of people not enjoying life in Japan, it is because they do not understand that Japan is an incredibly conservative culture. It has to be one of the most conservative countries in the entirety of the world. And people do not understand this, especially if they have never been to Japan. And your idea of what Japan is like is coming through, movies, or it's coming through anime, especially. People, look at Japan and they think Japan is this technological mecca. And people are quirky, and people are silly, and people are outgoing, and you can kind of be like free-spirited and do whatever you like. It is not like that at all. It really is not like that at all. In fact, those people that are quirky and free-spirited, they are hammered down in society, they are looked down upon, and they are essentially seen as outcasts. Japan is insanely traditional. It's insanely conservative, and in general, people are really not accepting of other ways of being. So that is something that I see being a massive culture shock, because people, maybe are first exploring what they believe to be Japanese culture in their home countries through things like anime or movies or whatever, and they have this kind of like false conception of what life in Japan is really like, what Japanese people are like, what is the culture really like. And then when they come in, when they actually get in country, they're coming in with that expectation, and it's just like getting hit in the face with a hammer. It's just walking into something that is completely the opposite of your expectation. It can be shocking, it can be disappointing. So it is good to know that from the outset. But yeah, that's about all I have for this one. And this is the point where I want to bring you guys into this conversation. If you do live in Japan, what would you say is, let's just say the top thing. What is the thing that you least like about living here? I think it would be interesting for people in the comments. Please share that below. And as well, if you've never lived in Japan, I would like to know, what other topics would you like me to cover on this channel? Give me your suggestions below, and I will make a video for you. Alright guys, that's all I got for this one. I will catch you in the next one. See ya.